there's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
Welcome to Room Service. I'm Sarah Richardson. What do you do when your kitchen and dining room won't work together?
You start with a plan that turns a retro space into one that entertains with grace by combining elements, textures, and tiles for maximum impact. Then head to the pros for some inside tips on stone and sew up an easy idea for that first dinner party.
We're creating the ultimate space to wine and dine, and it's only on Room Service. Shopping for a home, sometimes the kitchen can be the best part of it. You find your dream kitchen. And other times you find that it's not exactly what you would dream of. And I think that's the case here.
I think when we first walked in and saw the kitchen, we realized it was a room that needed a ton of work.
We've got a house that was built in the 1940s, and this update must have been done sometime around the 60s. We've got lime green handles and a flower motif that's painted on all of the cabinet doors. So this is definitely retro, definitely vintage, and definitely not what our clients are looking for. They want something more in a neutral feel. Now, one of the challenges about this kitchen is it's only 10 feet wide by 12 feet long. And the other thing is it has not one, not two, not three, but 4 doors leading off of it, plus a window, which makes it a bit of a challenge as far as space planning goes. The door behind me leads through from the hallway and connects back to the living room. On the other side of this wall is the dining room. We've got another doorway here which leads down the back stairs, and also is how you get to the fridge and freezer, great place to store your ice cream, and another door that leads out to the backyard. So planning here is really tricky.
Our original plans were to add on to the house. We didn't think there was enough space at first, and we thought we could add on and do a family room off the kitchen.
One of the real challenges of putting an addition onto the back of a house is it always costs more than you think. And the other thing is that you often end up creating a space that ends up replacing a current space that there's nothing wrong with. Now, what I always tell people is that the space that you have existing is free. You already own it, you already have it, and you should try and maximize it to make the best use of it. So we've come up with a completely different plan for this kitchen. Instead of making this kitchen feel small and tight with lots of doors, instead what we're gonna do is close off the door to the stairs. We're gonna close off this door here from the hall. We're gonna relocate the stairs so that they come off the hall. We're gonna blow out this entire wall. It's gonna be gone. And we're gonna create one open concept dining room and kitchen. Now this may seem a little strange, but let's be honest, not that many people need a really formal dining room. This is gonna be casually elegant. We're gonna put a big island here right in the middle, and we'll stain it in a dark wood to tie in with the wood floors that are throughout the rest of the house. We'll do cabinetry all along this wall, and we'll choose a more sort of creamy color that will still keep the kitchen bright. It'll be efficient, and we will maximize the use of the space using a neutral palette that is warm and cozy and inviting and ties in with the rest of the house.
Where do you start when you're looking to trade in retro for a kitchen with the right stuff? If you're thinking about a natural palette, why not take cues from the elements that nourish, like the subtle shades that fill a bowl of wild rice? Our kitchen will be as comforting as fresh homemade goodies with a tall, cold glass of milk, and will have the richness, the depth, and the luster of dark roasted coffee. Contrast in texture, warmth, and light will fill our kitchen as it becomes the center of the home.
There are a few places in the kitchen where you can add real decorative impact. The backsplash is one of them. You may be familiar with the collection and the variation that's available in glazed tiles. These are sort of the standard things that we think about to make a truly spectacular backsplash. However, there are now a wide variety of choices that are available. You could choose a glass mosaic tile, or you could go with something absolutely spectacular and exceptional using a stone mosaic. Now, here's a whole collection here. Let me show you one of the ones that I think is so interesting. These are made in Tunisia, and they are small pieces of tumbled marble that have been applied to a mesh backing individually, piece by piece. And there's an incredible collection of patterns here. We have a checkerboard, then we have the same sort of checkerboard pattern done on the diagonal using 3 different colors, or accent pieces, something like this, for the more traditional mosaic effect, even a leaf border. Now, part of the appeal of these is the more neutral palette and the textural interest that it lends. If you're looking for something along those earth tone palettes for your kitchen, or even for your bathroom for that matter. Now, I admit these tiles can be quite pricey, but that's why they're perfectly suited to a backsplash. You're usually only going about 18 inches high by the run of your counter. So instead of worrying about covering an entire floor, this really is just a decorative accent band, and what impact it will have because it's right at eye level. So if there's anywhere to invest in these tiles, a backsplash is the ideal place. There's also a collection here. These ones are from Mexico, most of these smaller mosaics. So if you were going for a French country look and wanted to have something that's more like a traditional tiled floor, you might think of this one combining the black and the creamy toned marble here. Now, one of my personal favorites is this herringbone pattern, available in 3 different colors. You can see that these pieces are cut. They're 1/2 inch by 2 inches long, and there's a number of little holes from when they've been tumbled, but that all gets filled with the grout, and then a sealer coat goes over top. So these sort of gray tones would complement stainless steel counters, whereas this one here, I love, with this kind of combination. It almost looks like alabaster coloring and cafe au lait. I think this will add texture and interest and softness to our kitchen. This is the right choice.
Coming up on room service, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and picking just the right details for our new kitchen.
Well, now here's an interesting drapery treatment. All right, this place is an absolute disaster right now, but that's because we've made some great progress. As you can see, the wall here that used to separate the kitchen from the dining room is gone. You remember the door used to sit right here. So now we have the whole space opened up, and we can start to get a feel of how it's going to be when it's done. I'm standing right here, and this is what's going to become the kitchen island. Here we have the plumbing, because the sink's going to be floating right in the middle. We're going to have cabinetry going all across here. So the guys have already relocated the stairs, and now they're going off the hallway. So these 2 doors are about to get sealed up. Our next step is to move on to drywalling over the lath here. Of course, you can still see remnants of our old wallpaper. We have to replace the floor. We've got lighting going in here in the ceiling. We're putting 2 pendants that are going to come down above the island, and then a number of pot lights that are going to go around the perimeter to provide great task light in this room. And we've got a long way to go. It's going to be dusty. It's going to get worse. But in order to make the dramatic change that we want to make, you have to go through this progress. So it is not for the faint of heart, but I'm telling you, this is going to be one stunning kitchen when we're done. Removing a wall between 2 rooms is a guaranteed way to make a dramatic change during any renovation. But before you go ahead and remove it, you need to find out whether or not the wall is load-bearing. A load-bearing wall means that it supports the upper floors and is integral to the structure of the house. In this case, we were lucky. This happens to be the load-bearing wall. That's a tongue twister. So we were able to remove the wall between the dining room and the kitchen. The only thing we've kept is about 6 inches at the top, which has the plaster molding from the dining room. We wanted to keep that architectural detail. So before you start your renovation, ask your contractor, ask your architect, and find out whether or not the wall is load-bearing. If you can take it down, it creates a big open space that helps to maximize the utility of the house.
more than any room in the home, a kitchen renovation presents the most bewildering array of choices. When it comes to stone counters, you can choose from many shades of granite, limestone, and marble. We opted for marble, but then we had to pick the type, the finish, and the edging. Time to consult with Luigi, for whom beautiful stone is a life calling. He'll help us find exactly what we're looking for.
What would you suggest in marble that would be appropriate to use for a countertop, like for a kitchen?
Crema marfil.
Crema marfil.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, because it's a hard, it's a good color, neutral color.
Okay.
Yeah, beige.
So if you're going to choose something in the marble vein, you want something then
Well,
that's going to be a little bit more forgiving?
I show you.
You want to show me? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
This is from Italy.
This is from Italy, okay.
This is a good marble, but, for kitchen, it can be seen a couple of times.
What's this called?
Calcata golden vein.
Calcutta golden vein. Well, it has really interesting veins running through it. So if you're going to use marble in a kitchen, what do you have to do to protect it?
For that, maybe seal a couple of times.
You have to seal it a couple times before it gets installed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And after, maybe every 6 months, do again.
So it's about maintenance. You have to, every
Yeah.
6 months, you have to
Yeah.
seal it, you have to protect it, you have to take care of it. This is not for a messy cook. Okay, so what's this one here?
Crema marfil.
So, and this will be okay for a countertop for a kitchen?
Yeah.
This has nice veining in it. Okay, I think this is the one for us.
Okay.
So now what do we do?
Mark the slab.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So it's mine. Great.
All right.
Now, what are my options of how we're gonna finish this?
On a finish or polish?
Honed, finished, or polished. So when all the slabs come, are they all polished?
Almost, yeah.
And
Yeah.
does the polished finish make it more durable?
Polish it look nice,
Right.
On a finish is a dull.
The honed finish is a dull finish, but that's more, right now, people tend to go more for the honed finish.
Well, in older interior decorator, they want a own. The people, other people say polish.
So the public wants polished, but the interior decorators and designers want
Yeah,
honed.
the most. Yeah.
So what do you think I want?
I think a own.
Right you are, okay. Decision made. The counter will be cut from the slab we've chosen. Getting it to the right size is a precision operation. Now it's time to choose the edging or profile of the countertop.
So tell me what these 3 edgings are that I have. This
This
is
French orgy.
French OG.
Bevel.
Just a bevel, so that's a very clean, contemporary look. And this one?
Cove.
And a cove. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then if we get into doubling up the slab, so we have an 1.5 inch thickness. I think this is my favorite,
Romano orgy.
the Roman OG. I think this is really nice because traditionally, you always think of this, right? This is
Yeah.
the bullnose,
Bullnose,
and
yeah.
everybody does
Yeah,
this.
everybody.
But now this is a little bit more, this isn't quite as contemporary. This is something that's nice in a more
Yeah,
traditional
this
space.
tradition, Yeah.
Well, I think that for my countertop, I think I will go with the crema marfil, and I think I want it honed, and I want to go with the Roman OG edging,
Okay.
and it's going to be magnificent.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Next on Room Service, a stylish, simple project for the next time you want to tie one on.
If you think fashion has no place in the kitchen, then you obviously have not seen the apron that I am about to make. I just figured that if we are going to create a truly stylish kitchen, then the accessories should be designed to match. So here is the easiest sewing project I've ever come up with. All you need is 1 yard of fabric. I'm using a piece of fabric that's 54 inches wide. 1 yard is 36 inches. Take your piece of fabric and fold it corner to corner. This is how you can get a perfect square. Make a small cut in the fabric and then tear it. There you go. There's our starting point, a 36-inch square. Set that aside. Now I need to make ties to tie the apron on. So I will do 2 strips, each of them 4 inches wide. 1 and 2. I love the sound of ripping fabric. Now that's easy. Now, fold the ties in half and then sew a straight line. You need to sew across the top and then down one side. The next thing you can do is turn it right side out. I'm going to use the eraser end of a pencil just to push that along. Then you just need to iron it. Hello, Finny. Hi. The dog likes to sew. And you can take the base, your 36-inch square, and you want to make a hem that goes down either side of the apron. So start by folding it in about 1/2 inch first and iron that in place. And then fold it in about a little over 1 inch, about 1 1/4 inches, and iron that in place. Do the same on the other side, and then stitch down either side to hold your hems in place. Now we'll do a bottom hem allowance. Start with about 1/2 inch. And then fold up. For your bottom hem, you want to give about 1.5 inches. I always like a deeper bottom hem than a side hem. When you do your top hem, which is going to be around your waistband, you want to make sure that your hem allowance is deep enough to accommodate your tie. So in this case, 2 inches will be plenty. Then all we have to do is a quick seam across the bottom and across the top, holding the hem in place. The last step is to attach the tie within the top hem. So set the tie inside the hem so that it covers over your side seam. Fold it over and then stitch it in place. 2 lines, one here and one at the outside. Then the last step is to run 1 line of stitching across this top hem, and before you know it, you will have your own custom apron that is the perfect match for your gourmet kitchen.
In the Middle Ages, a large copper kettle hung at the hearth of every home. For centuries, craftsmen shaped and hammered sheets of copper into these kitchen essentials. In fact, many of the copper pans produced today are still handmade. Copper pots are a key element in any chef's kitchen. They're the best heat conductors and they cool quickly. You'll want one made with a lower gauge, which means thicker copper and better quality. You'll pay a pretty penny, but copper pots are well worth the investment and last for generations. Next on Room Service, we'll show you how to wine and dine in casual style.
Well, it's safe to say that a lot has changed since we were last here together. It was just a dust heap at that point, really in the rough, and now we have transformed this kitchen and dining room into one spectacular space for entertaining. Our kitchen's been installed, and I want to tell you a little bit about what we've gone with here. The coloring is an antique white, and this is just a very simple profile. We started with a shaker door frame, and then we've added an extra piece of molding. Instead of having a raised panel door, which looks a bit more traditional, this has a slightly more contemporary feel. I guess you could call it transitional, but still works with all of the architectural features throughout this house. We've gone with a crown molding at the top that references that beautiful crown molding which we wanted to save that runs all the way through the dining room. And we've chosen to go with two different finishes. So we have the painted finish on the main body of the cupboards that wrap all around, and then we've gone with a dark walnut finish on this island. And the island just separates the dining area from the kitchen area. It provides extra seating when you're cooking and entertaining guests. And one little thing I want to point out is I even incorporated extra storage. On the underside, I've put doors all the way across the front. Now, if you're tight for space and you think you might not have a china cupboard in your dining room, this can be a great space to store those things that you don't use very often, like formal china or glassware. So that's just a way to make some extra use of the space. We've gone with a single sort of farmhouse sink right here in the center of the kitchen. We've used brushed nickel accessories throughout on knobs to pick up also on the stainless steel. We've gone with a stainless steel fridge and dishwasher and a really fabulous professional stove here. Now, we've added a few other touches of that to still bring in that sense of the walnut. We've gone with a 2-inch wood slat blind on the kitchen window and also on the dining room, but we've decided to soften the dining room with some sort of semi-sheer panels that pick up on all of those olivey shades that are in the dining room and also on the bar stools at the kitchen counter. As for lighting, we've got all of our sparkly halogen lighting designed to focus down on all the task areas throughout the kitchen, and then we have 2 pendant lights here, and this is actually a glass shade on them. It almost looks like alabaster, and it creates a glow and just creates pools of light on the counter, which is an effect I absolutely love. I'm sure you've noticed the countertops. They look incredible. You'll remember when I went and picked the slabs. So here they are in a honed finish, and they're on both the island and over here on this small bar that I've created. So this is a really great entertaining area that keeps guests out of the main prep area. Our backsplash is installed in the herringbone pattern. It just introduces some texture and really gives this space a warm feel.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really happy. It's fantastic. The wall coming down, the extra space, it looks amazing.
So here we have rustic textures mixed with slick materials, and this place is ready for wining and dining. I'm Sarah Richardson, and I hope you'll join me next time on Room Service.